Hello students. So in the previous class we have started with a new chapter, and that is light. We discussed that what is light. Light is what, student? It is a form of energy. What kind of an energy, student? What form of an energy? So it is a kind of an energy which produces sensation in our eyes, and due to which it enables us to see the object, to see the things which is present around us. Okay, so light, it is a form of energy which enables us to see the things. Now, not only the students, we have described about the light, we studied that what are the different sources of the light, because if we want to see the object which is present around us, we need a source which produces light, because our eyes are not able to produce a light. They will accept the light which gets reflected from an object, right? So we can say that there must be a source of light by which we can see the object, and that is the sources of the light. Now sources of the light is also divided into two, and that is the natural and man-made. Now we had described about the natural and man-made. The name itself is saying the source which we get from that of the nature is the natural, and the source which is the source of light which is produced by the object which is an artificially prepared or made by that of the man, like that of the electric bulb. So electric bulb is also tube light, students. When you switch on the light, the tube light or that of the electric bulb glows, and due to which you can see the things around you, present around us. Right? The same thing with that of the natural, like that of the sun, like that of the stars. Okay? So these are what? These are the natural source of the light. Now natural source or man-made source, now we can say that there are other two types of objects. The first one is the luminous and the second one is the non-luminous. Luminous objects are what? Which can emit its own light, that is the luminous object. Okay? And non-luminous which do not have its own light. Now you see the student, if a chair is there, if a table is there, so is it possible for the chair or table to emit light? No. So in which category we will keep it then? We will keep them in the non-luminous object. Now the luminous object is like that of the sun, is like that of the stars. So they emit their own light, so they are considered to be the luminous object. Now we have studied about the rectilinear propagation of light. We know that light, it travels in a straight path. So the path which is followed by them is the rectilinear propagation of light. Right? Rectilinear propagation of light. It means it travels through a straight path. That is the rectilinear propagation of light. Now when the ray light, when a narrow path of a light moves in a particular direction, such kind of a light we call it a ray. Okay, and ray can be denoted with the help of the arrow which shows the direction of that particular light. Not only the students, we have discussed about the reflection of the light, and in that we were discussing that reflection is what? It is the bouncing back of the light, reflection. Bouncing back of light when it strikes the surface. When it strikes a smooth surface, it gets bounced back in the other direction, and such kind of such process, such method, such phenomenon is known as the reflection of the light. So when light gets reflected, we will call it the reflection of the light, students. Now the reflection also varies from material to material, right? If a wood is there, students, so wood is there, and if you throw a light on it, it will reflect all the light which is falling on it, which is striking its surface. Okay, why is this so? Because wood is an opaque object. And what is the opaque object, student? Which reflects all the light falling on it. So the object which reflects all the light which is falling on it, that is known as the opaque object. If we talk about the translucent, students, so in case of a translucent, you have seen that in translucent we can see the things, partial things, because it allows a few light to pass through it. So if few light passes through it, so what about the other light, student? So those other light will be reflected back by that of the translucent material. So we can say reflects few amount of light. So it reflects the few amount of light, that is translucent object. Now if we talk about the transparent. Transparent is what, student? You see, in case of transparent object, it allows all the light to pass through it. And if it allows all the light to pass through it, none of the light will get reflected. And thus we can say that it almost neither reflect the light. Okay, so we can say does not reflect light. You see the example, student, like that of the glass. So glass is what which allows all the light to pass through it. So it will not going to reflect anything. That is why glass is what it does not reflect the lights falling on it. Translucent is like that of the tissue paper is there. So you will see that it will not allow all the light to be reflected. And opaque, I told you, if a metal is there or if a wood is there, so it will reflect all the light which falls on it. So reflection of the light, it varies from the material to material. Some of the material, it will reflect all the light. Some of the material, it will allow the few light to be reflected. Now students, there are some terms which we should understand regarding that of the reflection of the light. And these terms are very important. So if we want to understand the reflection of the light, we should know these terms very well. So you see, students, if this is the light, let me draw it here itself. Okay, this is the light and this is the light. Now this is a mirror. A plain mirror is there or smooth mirror is there, students. And here this is the smooth surface, this is the back side of that surface, okay? And here a ray of a light falls on it. So when a ray of light falls on it, this ray must be there some name of this ray, students, and that is the incident ray. Okay, so we can say that the ray of light which falls or which strikes the surface of that of the mirror, here we are taking it a mirror, or on the smooth surface, you can say anything. So the ray of a light which falls on that of the, which strikes on the surface of the mirror or on the smooth surface, that is known as the incident ray. Okay, so this is the incident ray. Now this is the point where it strikes, students. So we can say the point at which the incident ray falls, okay, or the point at which this incident ray strikes on the surface, that is known as point of incidence. Okay. Now after this incident ray, it falls on it, it will get reflected to the other direction, it will bounce back to the other direction. So after this, you see here, student, this will move to the other direction. Okay, and this is what, this is the bounce back, bouncing of the light ray which strike on its surface. Okay, so this ray which get reflected, which get bounced back after striking the surface of this mirror is known as the reflected ray. Okay, so this will happen at the point of incidence. Now students, a perpendicular line will be there which passes through that of the incident ray. Okay, so this perpendicular ray which passes through that of the mirror, which passes through that of the incident ray or perpendicular to that of the incident ray, that is known as the normal ray. Okay, so this one is the incident ray, this one is the reflected ray, this one which is perpendicular to that of the surface passes through that of the incident ray is known as the normal ray. Point of incidence is the point at which the incident ray falls. That is the point of incidence. Okay. This one, now you see the student, this is the normal ray, this is the incident ray, this is the reflected ray. Okay. So 3 rays are there, students. Now what we can write the incident ray, we can represent incident ray by I. We can represent reflected ray by small r, and we can represent normal by capital N, that is N. Okay, and this is what? This is the point of incidence. So you see the student, now we can define each and every ray very easily. So we will start with the incident ray, then we will move further and understand the other concept also. So you see here students, this is what? This is the incident ray. Incident ray. Now what we will do, we will give a name here. So this is the incident ray, student. Incident ray. Here it is the reflected ray, and this one is the normal. Okay, so one is the incident ray, second one is the reflected ray, other is the normal. Okay, if suppose this is the A and this is the O, and here this one is the B. Okay, we have given names so that we can understand it very easily. Now you see here student, how can we define the incident ray? Incident ray is a ray of light which strikes on the surface, ray of a light that comes from a source. There must be a source of a light by which the incident ray is falling. So a ray of light comes from a source, strikes on the surface of the mirror called as incident ray. We represent the incident ray, student, by that of AO. Okay, so we can say a ray of light which comes from that of a source is there, and this source of the light, when it gives a ray of light and it strikes on the surface, we use the term for it, and that is the incident ray. So this is the incident ray. AO is the incident ray which fall on this surface. Now if we talk about the other term, student, and that is the point of incidence. Okay, so what is point of incidence? Okay, a ray of light comes from a source, a strike on the surface of the mirror is called as the incident ray. Now, if we write about that of the point of incidence, so point of incidence. So in case of a point of incidence, students, you see the point which the point on the surface at which the point on the surface at which incident ray strikes or fall is known as point of incidence. So point of incidence is what, student? The point on the surface at which incident ray strike is known as the point of incidence. So this one is the point of incidence. This is the point, student, where the incident ray falls, it strikes the surface, and that is the point of incidence. Okay, so point of incidence is what, student? On the surface when it strikes the incident ray, that particular point is known as the point of incidence. Now we will talk about that of the reflected ray. Reflected ray, students, if we talk about the reflected ray, so reflected ray is the ray of light. Reflected ray. The ray of light which bounce back, at back from the surface, students, which bounce back from the surface of the mirror. Okay, so the ray of light which bounce back from the surface of the mirror, and that is known as the reflected ray, is known as reflected ray. Okay, so you can see the student, as the incident ray fall here, this ray it bounces back to the other direction. So this ray is known as the reflected ray. So you can see the student, reflected ray is AO. Okay, and we represent reflected ray by R, small r. Okay, and we represent incident ray by that of a small r. Okay, so this is the point of incidence, this is the incident ray, and that of the reflected ray. Now we will talk about the another ray, and that is the normal. So you see the student, normal. So the line drawn perpendicular to that of the surface of the mirror at the point of incidence. So normal. Normal is what, student? The straight line, the perpendicular line. The line drawn perpendicular to the surface perpendicular to the surface at the point of incidence is known as normal ray. So you see here, students, normal is what? The line which is drawn perpendicular to the surface of the point of incidence is known as perpendicular to the surface of the mirror at the point of incidence is known as that of the normal. So you see, normal is moving perpendicular to that of the surface. Okay, so this is the normal ray. Okay, normal ray we can represent the surface of the mirror, that is the incident ray represented by small I. The ray which get reflected, which get bounced back at the point of incidence, from the point of incidence as it strikes the surface, then we will call it a reflected ray. The point at which the incident ray fall or strike the surface is known as a point of incidence. A line which is drawn perpendicular to that of the mirror and which is passes through that of the point of incidence is known as a normal ray. Okay, now there are two other things that we have to understand, student, and it is very important. Now you see, student, there is a one line, one ray is there which is coming to that of the point of incidence. There is another line is there which is the normal ray which is also coming to that of the point of incidence. So we can say that this line and this line forms an angle here. You can see here this line and this line, it forms an angle here, students, right? And this angle is known as an angle of incidence. Okay, so you see here, students, the angle, how the angle, you know that angle is not when the two lines they cross each other, they intersect each other. Okay, so we can say when the incident ray is falling here and going to this side and the normal is coming to this side, so because of that there is a formation of an angle between these two, and this angle is known as angle of incidence. So angle of incidence is what, student? The angle which is made by that of an incident ray and that of the normal ray. That is known as the angle of incidence. So you can see here incident ray and normal ray, it forms the angle here that is known as angle of incidence. So we can write it angle of incidence. Angle of incidence. What is the angle of incidence? The angle which is, so angle of incidence, the angle which is made by or which is formed, between incident ray and normal. Okay, that is known as the angle of reflection, is known as angle of incidence. Sorry, student, that will be angle of incidence. And we represent angle of incidence, angle of representation of angle of incidence will be equals to that of the angle I. Okay, students, so we represent incident ray by angle I. This is the angle and I. So this is the angle of incidence. Okay, so angle which is made by the help of the incident ray and normal ray is known as the angle of incidence. Now we will move to the another kind of angle, student. So you see here one ray is also there which is bouncing back. So this ray is what? This is the reflected ray. Okay, so this ray it gets reflected to that of the other direction. So we can say that a normal ray is also coming here. So one normal ray and that of the reflected ray, they are meeting at a point and then they form an angle between these. The angle is known as angle of reflection. So here it will be angle of reflection. Okay, so the angle which is formed, which is made in between that of the normal ray and that of the reflected ray is is known as the angle of reflection. So we can write it. It is known as the angle of reflection. Now, in case of the angle of reflection, the angle formed between the reflected ray and the normal is called the angle of reflection. Okay students, so angle of reflection is what? The angle which is formed between that of the reflected ray and that of the normal ray is known as angle of reflection. Okay, so we can represent it by angle R. We can represent it by angle R. Okay, so angle I is the representation of the angle of reflection and angle of incidence, angle I, and the angle R shows the angle of reflection. So one is angle of incidence, another is an angle of reflection. So these are the some terms which is related to that of the reflection of light. Whenever we will study later on, we will use this term, that incident ray or that of the reflected ray or angle of incidence or a normal rays coming towards it, or this is the point of incidence. So you should know that what is the incident ray, what is reflected ray, what is point of incidence, what is the angle of reflection and angle of incidence. So these terms will help you to understand the reflection of light. Now students, we will move to the another topic, and that is the laws of reflection. Okay, so here we discuss about the terms which is related to reflection. Now we will talk about the laws of reflection. Laws of reflection, students. Okay. Laws of reflection. So basically you will see student, there are two laws of reflection. The first law is that angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. Okay. And the second law it states that angle of the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal at the point of incidence all lie at the same plane. Okay, so this is the two laws of reflection. Let me write it, the both of the laws, student. So the first law it states that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, so angle of incidence is equals to that of the angle of reflection. The second one is the incident ray reflected and normal at the point of incidence lie at the same plane. Okay. So you see here students, This is the first law, and that is angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. The second states that incident ray, reflected ray and the normal at the point of incidence, they meet together, and there at the point of incidence you can say they lie at the same plane. So this is the two laws of the reflection, and it is very important to learn both of the law. In the examination the question will be asked that what are the two different laws of reflection? Write them. So you will write it, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. It means this is the angle of I, it will be equals to angle of R. Angle of incidence equals to angle of reflection. Incident ray, reflected ray and that of the normal at the point of incidence lie at the same plane. Okay.